Hello, everyone. This is OD. I just wanted to take a second to apologize to you guys for this week's episode. It is not the level of quality that I have been trying to attain, and I just want to say I'm sorry about that. I've been having a rough week. For whatever reason, my camera decided it did not want to focus, so the entire video is me just being a black blur. And so, yeah, I almost didn't even want to release this episode, but a lot of my viewership is from Dr. Stone, and I feel like I owe it to you guys to release this video regardless. So, unfortunately, it's going to be audio only, podcast type. And once again, I'm really sorry about this, and I will make sure that this doesn't become a habit in the future. Hey, everyone, and happy Memorial Day. Sorry I'm a little bit late with this review. I always try to be one of the first to have Dr. Stone out, but unfortunately, wasn't released on my manga website on Friday like it usually is. And then I just ended up being busy Sunday. So I apologize for that. But I do appreciate you guys. My Dr. Stone viewership is my highest on my channel. So I do try to make sure to always have this series covered, albeit late this week. But forget about that. Today we are going to be talking about chapter 198 of Dr. Stone, A New World. Now, if you haven't been here before, or you just haven't liked or subscribed, please take a second to do that right now. I'm really desperately trying to grow my community, and I would appreciate each and every single subscription. So do your boy a favor, hook me up, and without further ado, let's get into this review. All right, guys. Like I said, Dr. Stone 198. Now, last chapter, we were blown away with a huge revelation. We found out that pretty much the revival fluid grants you immortality. We saw that there were several characters that, even though they should have died, were able to resurrect. Before we got some hints and clues, before we had it with Senku with the chop from Tsukasa way back in the very beginning of the series. Then we had the moment where we froze Tsukasa, which once again I always considered kind of different. I even had a discussion with one of my viewers about it, that I never really truly saw that as actual death, just like suspended animation. But now, without further ado, we have concrete knowledge evidence that yes, indeed, the revival fluid after petrification can bring back the dead, as we saw with Hyuga, who without a doubt was dead. We don't know the specifications of it, we don't know the time limit, but we do know that you can be medically, biologically dead and come back. So that's something very interesting. So you right now, as of right now, the only people that have this knowledge are Senku, Chrome, who else? Tsukasa, and obviously Jin, our illusionist, but he's pretending like he doesn't know. So oh, and of course Zeno, because guess what? We revived Zeno. At first I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Zeno literally attacked you guys, literally was trying to take you guys over, capture you, was responsible for the deaths of many of your allies. How can you just kind of willy-nilly, revive them? And so actually this chapter was really funny because it kept proposing it kept forcing me to propose questions that it would answer immediately. Before I get to the Xeno part, I want to talk about why immediately Senku was like, immortality is not a good thing. Those for most of you that are fans of anime and manga, some of you might be fans of hero stuff too. And if you are, you might be familiar with Avengers Endgame. Basically, the plot of Avengers Endgame is you have this dude named Thanos, who's like a kind of basically a wouldn't say he's not your stereotypical villain in this movie. In this movie, he kind of has, a plan that makes sense. Basically, he believes that the universe there's just too much life, and because of it, resources are going to be rapidly depleting, causing the people that have to deal with said resource depletion to live miserably. So he figures, hey, I purge half of the universe, and then we go from unabundance to abundance, which, you think about it, kind of makes sense. And that's kind of what Senku says. He says, hey, a couple things are going to happen with that. First of all, you're going to have old ass motherfuckers running around. Dead ass. It makes a lot of sense. It's true. If no one's dying, and I'm waiting for current human society to get to that, because with the rate of how well medicine is going, you're gonna have all these really old people, and I don't think they're gonna be as physically fit as Kaseki. I think Kaseki is like a special breed. He probably, besides being a craftsman in his younger days, probably was super physically active and fit because we've seen this old man put in work. He's pretty ripped. So I would actually like a flashback or just some more information to why exactly he's just incredibly jacked. But yeah, we'd have society filled with old people. On top of that, the biggest concern is we're not going to have enough resources. We're not going to have enough space. We're not going to have enough food. We might not have enough water to sustain all these people. So while individually immortality seems really cool, there are too many issues with it to for it to be a practical thing that we can have, and like we can that can exist in society. Until in my opinion we start space travel and being able to colonize other planets and being able to grow food there, I just don't see any like way possible for for us to have immortality, or like even not even immortality, just like a society where so many people can get to like old age. It's sad. It sounds like not nihilistic, but pessimistic. But I just feel like that's the truth at the end of the day. So next up, what happens is you have Xenos get revived. And once again, initially I'm like, what the fuck? Why are you reviving Xenos? Literally, he just tried to kill you all. He's responsible for the murders of all your friends and blah, blah, blah. But they explain it. It makes a lot of sense, right? We are completely changing the game plan. We are changing the roadmap. I don't know what it is with all these shonen series kind of wrapping up all of a sudden, and not to say that Doctor Stone is wrapping up, but we are. It seems like we're kind of approaching like the end plot, and we are. I always expected us to go to the moon. Do not get me wrong. I always expected us to go to the moon, but I figured we would accomplish so much more first. We would like reestablish civilization, revive a bunch of people, and then like as we leave to go to the moon, we have people left on Earth who are whose sole job it is to revive others and continue what Senku has been doing. Also to prepare for a backup mission in case Senku's mission fails. That was always my assumption. Now we're just throwing that all out the window and saying, fuck it, we're going to the moon right the fuck now, because this dude has been broadcasting a signal down, pretty much trying to keep us perpetually petrified. And so we have to find out why there's no point in trying to revive everyone if he's monitoring Earth and he's constantly sending down these signals, because if that's the case, then that means even if we revive everyone, it would be pointless because he would just at some point repetrify everyone. So I totally get why everything else is on the back burner and we're trying to go to space. And who better to help us get to space than a former NASA scientist who literally worked, getting people to and from space, Senku's childhood hero. It makes absolute sense. And if that doesn't sell you, the greatest thing that like that should make you go, all right, you know what? I get it. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Basically, whoever Y Man is, they have technology that far exceeds anything we could hope to imagine or create ourselves within this allotted time period. They are using some next gen sci-fi tech. However you slice or dice it, the Medusas are incredible devices. The petrification alone was amazing, but then the fact that whatever injuries or whatever you had were healed was another big bonus. But now we're reaching a whole new level of what the fuck with the fact that we can be resurrected. So this technology is insane. It's kind of scary. I'm kind of hoping we don't go down a kind of Gantz avenue where it's something where they're the original creators of humans, and like with this technology they can just freely create or destroy life. I'm hope we're not going in that direction, but I am very curious because one thing has been made very clear, and that's the fact that they don't really seem to want to destroy humanity. Keep them in a petrified state, yes, but for what? It seemed that their goal was to destroy humanity. Why not, after petrifying everyone, come down, destroy the statues? Why not? Why even bother petrifying everyone? Well, I would assume that makes it easier. If everyone's petrified, it's easier to wage war against, a bunch of statues than actively resistant humans. Even though I would assume once again they would have certain weapons. So I don't know if Y-Man is good or bad at this moment. We don't know anything about him, and that's what we're trying to find out right now. What do you guys think? Do you guys think he's good? Do you think he's bad? Because for the longest time, I just was always on the side of bad, but I always kept this like room in my head for theories about why are we being petrified? And I've told it before. Maybe they want to colonize our planet. Maybe they need us. Maybe they need civilization to stay at a certain level before something happens. I cannot, for the life of me, piece it together. I know, based upon the mangaka and what he's been doing so far, I know that it'll come to fruition at some point. I just cannot help but be super, super curious. But Xeno is going to be super important, and the fact that, sorry, what am I trying to get at here? Oh yeah, the fact that Zeno's original plan was to pretty much rule and dominate the world, revive a select few, and then maybe eventually the rest under subjugation of him. He felt like, hey, I'm smart. Smart people should rule the world. I kind of get his ideology because stupid people ruin things for people, but we also have to live in a world that's free. Once again, why one of my favorite mangas of all time is One Piece, and I think that it's safe to say that as long as White Man is a threat, they can expect loyalty from Xeno. But but I want to make this perfectly clear. I do have every belief that if and when they do defeat Y Man, once there is no longer a big boss, someone that would try to control Xeno, someone with greater technology than Xeno, I think Xeno will switch up, switch sides, and betray Senku. As of right now, I think their goals and what they want align. Find out about the Medusas, defeat Y Man, figure out why Y-Man did all this in the first place, and maybe discover some new science and some new technology. Because as of right now, Zeno and Senku are the greatest scientists in the entire world and the most knowledgeable people in the whole world with the most advanced technology in the whole world. But they are going at by the end of this series, they're definitely going to be introduced to science they could never have conceived of before, and I cannot wait till they get to that point. So I'm very excited about that. My next question was, you see a panel where Dino goes over to Stanley, gives him a cigarette. It's a pretty tough panel. I really liked it. And I was like, wait a minute. If you guys are going to be, waging war, going against blah, blah, you're going to need all the muscle you can. Also, you're going to need people back on Earth doing stuff. Why not depetrify Stanley? And I'm gonna assume it's for two reasons. One, it would be too problematic for everyone else involved. This dude single-handedly was responsible for, well, I don't want to say single-handedly, let's not put all the blame on him. At the end of the day, he's a soldier following orders from Xeno. But this dude was responsible for the murder and trauma that a lot of their friends suffered. They can't just unpetrify and be like, hey, everything's cool, everything's squashed. I understand this is a manga at the end of the day. I understand that there's an element of suspended disbelief, but that would be a little bit too much for me. I would have a problem with that if I was Suika and a bunch of the other people. I would have a problem with that if I was Tsukasa and all of them, right? I think Tsukasa would handle it relatively well, but that would be problematic. Also, this is my main reason. My main reason why I think that they didn't revive Stanley wasn't just because it would be problematic and when all is said and done and they have a court system, he'll have to stand trial for his crimes, even though they said nothing about that to Zeno, so I thought that was weird. But I think that Stanley is to Zeno what Tsukasa is to Senku. He's his agent of change. He is his agent of force. If you're religious, basically, if Senku is God, then Tsukasa is the will of God. Same with Zeno. If Zeno is God, then then Stanley is the will of God. He is what carries out God's word. He is what imposes God's will. And so if you can just get God without the ability and just use his knowledge without the ability for him to act on his own desires, then that's the optimal situation. And that, in my opinion, is what's going on here. As long as it's just Zeno alone, yeah, he can get into some tricky, yeah, he can do some stuff, but physically, he's not a threat. He doesn't have anyone capable of dispatching people with ease. And so I think that's why Stanley is actually being kept on ice, so to speak. Basically, so that, they have right now, the intelligence advantage is kind of, it's kind of balanced, but the strength balance is now with Senku because Senku and all his homies are revived, and it doesn't look like we've revived the rest of Zeno's people, especially his right hand man Stanley, and so that makes a lot of sense. I'll pretty much leave it there. My question is, where the hell did Stanley get his new fit? My boy is looking. I'm not sorry, it's not Stanley. Zeno. Zeno is looking clean. Got the cape. Got the little tie thing. I don't know what it's called. But like I was like, bro, all your stuff should have eroded, withered away. And then even if you did have to recreate it, how did you recreate it so quickly? How did you recreate it so freshly? So I found that to be super interesting. Like that cracked me up. I was like, bro, this bro doesn't waste a second. He's like, look, man, I'll help you out, but I gotta look fresh while I do it. You already know what I mean. So anyway, rather short review. I'm really excited for the next set of chapters. Do you guys think that they're gonna be able to get to the moon in like a handful of chapters, or this is gonna be a long, steady process? Personally, I'm gonna say a long, steady process. Um, Building a rocket is something insane, and you know, this isn't like the other roadmaps where he's like, I'm building a motorcycle, I'm building a car, and then he builds like a janky version of what I'm gonna build a cell phone. And he builds like a janky version of whatever he's trying to build. Janky's a little mean, just not as advanced, so super primitive. Let's say a primitive version of whatever he means. You cannot afford to make a primitive spaceship. You simply cannot. There are too many factors that go into space travel. The material has to be perfect. You have to be able to take oxygen with you. You have to account for changes in force. The math is insane, which is another reason why obviously Zeno was needed. As smart as Senku is, there was no way he would have been able to accomplish what he's trying to do right now alone. There was no way that Zeno was gonna stay petrified as long as Senku was trying to go to space. Also, I like the fact that he's going to accomplish by the end of this series his main goal at the beginning of the series before any of this happened, which was space travel. And I really hope that we see something cool like remnants of his adoptive father on the moon and stuff like that. So yeah, I think we're gonna switch gears, and instead of trying to revive people and reset up civilization, we're gonna do our best to kind of find the materials to get us into space and everything else we're gonna need. I do think that we're gonna, as we travel, we're still gonna revive people. Hopefully, people that will be able to help us with accomplish the dream of getting to space. Maybe some people with I was gonna say like who are physically able, but this is a monk, so that's not gonna be a problem. But maybe anyone else that can kind of navigate us there. We can kind of assume that the current captain of the ship might be the flight control captain to the moon. I don't know if Zeno and Senku are going to be able to create AI because right now I'm pretty much under the assumption that a lot of the taking off and landing is done by AI, and so I'm gonna assume that that's not going to be possible. So either Zeno what saying Stanley, Zeno and or Senku are going to have to act as the AI while the captain, I forget his name right now, Ryosu, he's going to have to manually fly, and that's going to take a lot out of him. He's going to have the lives of everyone, both on the ship and on Earth, in his hands. So I'm really excited about that. I really, really would like to believe that they have to make a pit stop back at Corn City. It just seems like they needed to get production of all the ethanol they're going to need for the revival fluid going right now. Once again, they can't just willy-nilly revive everyone right now, because the moment that Y-Man notices, and we also have to figure out, how is Y-Man able to tell? How is he able to tell if there's life existing or not? How is he able to monitor the Earth from where he is? Because we are told specifically that once the second global Medusa went off, the broadcast signal stopped. So obviously he stopped the signal because he figured, hey, I don't need to send it anymore. Everyone is petrified. For whatever reason, he discovered, hey, there's people back alive here, got a dead bat, and then stopped. So we had to figure that out also. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. Any theories you guys have, any questions for me you guys have, please leave. Please like, share, and subscribe. I would appreciate it. Anyway, have a great day. Take care. And I will see you next week for another phenomenal episode of Doctor Stone.